Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Let Me Tell You Something. I am your host, Deldrian. Today has been a day. I've been here, I've been there, I've been ripping and running, and honestly, I was going to cancel, but I am here because there is something that is on my spirit, that is on my heart, that is on my soul, and I feel like I have to get it off, otherwise I'm going to have chest pain, in the words of Tammy Roman. Are we okay? And the answer to that is no, we're not okay. So, if you didn't know, the government is currently shut down here in America. It's been shut down for, I don't know, but it seems like an eternity. I don't exactly know in terms of days, weeks, how long it's been shut down, but it's been shut down. And because of that, people are not going to get their SNAP benefits for the month of November. And if you didn't know, SNAP benefits are food stamps. That's the name for it. The name for it now. And if you listen to our commander in chief or our clown in chief, because that man is something. And the Republicans, it's because the Democrats are trying to give illegals, I guess, Medicaid or Medicare or something along those lines, and that they're the reason for the shutdown. Here's the thing. We are not okay. And this is not a political podcast in the sense of I'm talking about politics, but like I said in previous episodes, politics affect our everyday lives. We cannot escape politics because while you can say I don't get into politics or I don't do politics, politics will get into you and politics will do you. So this episode really is just about what is currently going on in this administration in this country right now, and just really what I am seeing in terms of the conversation about how we are treating somebody and treating each other. Because in previous episodes, I've talked about, where is the love? I talked about the lack of empathy and just the rise of apathy in this country. And I feel that really is just on the rise because I am seeing people on these internet streets and in real life debating whether or not people have the right to eat. And a nation that is debating whether or not its people have the right to eat is not a nation. It is a failure. So that's what we're going to get into today. And I want to start this episode off by saying this sentence. Food is not a privilege. Food is a necessity. You do not have to earn the right to eat. Every citizen or non-citizen that is in this country should be fed, especially in a country like America, the country that's supposed to be the beacon of the world. Everybody wants to be in America. I want to be in America. West Side Story. That everyone wants to be in America, right? Then why are we not feeding our people? If there is a contingency fund that could potentially bridge the gap, even just a little bit, to feed the families that are not going to get their food benefits because it is shut down, why are we not doing everything in our power to ensure that happens? And the answer to that question is the people in power do not care because their families are fed. Their pockets aren't hurting. They're not worried about rent. They're not worried about a mortgage. They're not worried about where their next meal is going to come from. And so while Republicans specifically are pointing fingers at Democrats saying Democrats are holding this up, Republicans don't care about you either. And the reason why they don't care about you either because they are not doing everything they can to ensure that contingency fund is being put towards the people. They are also trying to raise premiums. And also in the case of SNAP benefits, even if the government was open and SNAP benefits were going out, because of that big, beautiful bill, it is completely reshaping how much people are able to get food benefits. And let's talk about food benefits real quick. This idea that people are living off the government and spending 10, 20 years on food assistance is a lie. Now, no, if you listen to my interview with Dr. Smith, we talked about misinformation. We talked about propaganda. Propaganda is a very powerful thing. And so I'm sure you've all heard of the welfare queen. And all of that, things about, these people just living their life, living high on food stamps. That is a myth. People Most people who are on food assistance work. I know. Also, fun fact, there are more white people on food benefits typically than there are other groups, which I don't know the stats on that, but what I mean is the idea that only black people are on food assistance is actually a myth. There are actually a lot of white people also on food benefits. And I know the idea of the welfare queen was, black women specifically buying hair, buying lashes, eating lobster tail with food stamps and food assistance and just, living the high life. That is not true. That's not true at all. Most people on food assistance are working, and the reason why they are trying to get benefits is because the work that they do is not paying the bills, or it just is paying the bills enough to where the bills are paid, but the pantry, the cabinets, the fridge are bare. And in a country like America, the richest country in the world, the shining lighthouse, the hope of the world, how could that be? We have money for any and everything else. We just be finding money. But we can't find money to help our people? So are we okay? The answer is no. We're not okay. And I just feel like this is not a Republican, Democrat politics issue. This is a people, human rights issue. People are starving. People do not know where their next meal is coming from. I've seen people say that they have had to stop eating dinner because they are trying to ration food for lunch the next day. And you mean to tell me that, the reason why they are in these predicaments is because they just didn't plan their life right. So you mean to tell me 40 million Americans, or however many Americans that are on food assistance, didn't plan their life out right? It's just bad decisions that have led them down the road of food assistance. Let me ask you this. If you miss 1, 2, 3 paychecks, where you going to be? Are you going to be able to eat? Are you going to be able to live? You'd be surprised how many people are one paycheck away from standing in the child line with Thelma, JJ, Florida, James, Michael, and Willona from Good Times. And so what I really want to shift into is, why are we so adamant that people don't have the right to eat? What does it take away from you to see other people on food benefits? Are you jealous because you can't be on food benefits? Because I get it. I'm not on food benefits. I've never been on food benefits. So that's not my life. But I would love to have them because every little bit helps. But the amount of vitriol that I see for people on food benefits, as if, my tax dollars are paying for it. Baby, I'm going to hold your hand, not gently. I'm going to squeeze your hand and say, I can almost assure you that the amount of money that you probably make is not like millions and millions. You're not eating the way you think you are. Let me just put it that way, because I have to, I don't want to shame anybody, but I just want you to come back to reality. The amount of money that you're paying for that, trust and believe, is not as significant as you think. And even if it was, what is wrong with your tax dollars going towards helping another family eat? If there was a chance that you were in a position where you were not able, where you had to choose between eating or paying your bills, and that potentially could help you bridge that gap, would you not want people to step in? So when we're sitting up and saying my tax dollars, do you know all the places that your tax dollars go? Places that are not beneficial to you in any way, shape, or form. Places that are putting dollars in other people's pockets that are actively working against you and your everyday way of life. Baby, you have lost the plot. And I'm going to help you find it after this quick break. We'll be right back. thank you for joining us over on Let Me Tell You Something. If you've enjoyed what you've heard so far, let's keep that party rolling over on social media. Follow me on TikTok at Deldrian. Follow the podcast page on Instagram, Let Me Tell You Something. And follow us over on YouTube. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends or family. Now let's get back to more conversation on Let Me Tell You Something. All right, so I'm back. So I said that we've lost the plot, and we have. So I saw this thing on Facebook of it's people with 8 teeth defending 8 billionaires, and that had me hollering because not 8 teeth, but it's true. You have people who are dirt poor defending people who would not spit on you if you were on fire. You could be dying of thirst in front of them, and they would drink an ocean. They would drink the equivalent of the ocean amount of water in front of you and let you dehydrate, let you die. They don't care. And so what we should be doing, because I think a lot of people are, y'all want to be the elite so bad. And I'm here to, again, not gently hold your hand, but also, gently, because I love y'all, so I'm trying to help y'all. You probably have a better chance of being struck by lightning than being a billionaire. You're not going to be a billionaire. You're probably not going to be a millionaire. You can look towards people and be inspired and say that could one day be me, because it could be. But also, most people are not going to be millionaires, and they're sure as heck are not going to be billionaires. And so this idea of, oh, well, if I just work hard enough, it'll be okay. You think that the mother who's raising 3 children by herself isn't working hard? You think the father who is busting his butt for his family isn't working hard? You think the janitor's not working hard? You think the people at McDonald's or Burger King or the Mills or wherever you work aren't working hard? If you think being a billionaire was all about working hard, we wouldn't all be racking it up with Oprah and Tyler and Elon and whoever. It's not about working hard. If the cards are stacked against you, no amount of hard work is going to make a difference. If everything is rising but the wages, baby, it doesn't matter. If food prices are rising, rent is rising, but everything is rising. Car notes, medical premiums, everything is rising but what you are bringing home. It's not going to make a difference. But you sitting up here fussing with people who in the same boat as you, but you're not in the same boat, right? Because they are beneath you. Because we have this need to feel elite, and you are elite because of who you are, but you're not better than anybody else because of what is or isn't in your bank account. And this idea of people are poor or in poverty because they just made bad decisions. Do you know how many people didn't even have decisions to make? Decisions were made for them. They had to choose between getting an education and providing for their family at a young age. They didn't even have the opportunity to get an education. And then ones who did are so far in debt that they can't even see their way out of it. And so God forbid people want to eat. Lord have mercy. If the worst thing about you is that you want to be fed, then baby, in the words of Marie Antoinette, not let them eat cake, baby. Here is the cake. Have the cake. Which apparently that lady did not even say that, but that's neither here nor there. I just don't understand what is wrong with some of y'all. You can't have that much hate in your heart. And if you do, please go see somebody about that. The amount of people, like I saw a TikTok of a lady munching on a cracker talking about, what did you do last month with your food benefits? They spend them to eat, babe. That's what they did with them. And while she was munching on that cracker, now she could be munching on crackers for a long time because she lost her job trying to be cute on the internet. I don't understand how we've gotten so apathetic to one another. Especially, like I've said numerous times, we're in a digital age. We are so connected yet disconnected all at the same time. We are sitting up here mad talking about people are living off the system. No, they're not. They're trying to survive. They're trying to live. They're trying to eat. And you are sitting up here acting like, oh, well, if I had to work for it, so do they. How do you, they are working for it. But you so hell bent on making sure somebody don't surpass you, you are failing to see that y'all in the same boat. Both of y'all drowning. You so keen on making sure no one gets ahead of you, you're willing to trip other people up just to get a little footing for yourself. And that's no way to live. Because if we are you think, like, hold that thought. Christians, people that believe in the Lord, Jesus Christ, I'm speaking specifically to Christians, but this applies to anybody. Christians, if you claim to love your neighbor and follow the Bible, you think Jesus would not be for food assistance? You think Jesus would not have been for helping the sick and the needy and the people who are in need? You think Jesus would be for that? You can't sit up in the pulpit on Sunday and hoop and holler and do all this for the Lord and then get on your Facebook and get in your group chats or get on the internet or get anywhere and shame people for not being able to eat. Shame people who barely have 2 nickels to rub together and are barely scraping by trying to get a little bit of assistance. And on that same note, there is nothing wrong with getting assistance. Let me tell you something. Pride doesn't feed you, and neither does ego. You say you don't want a handout. Your framing is messed up because it's not a handout. It's a helping hand. Oh, that was a bar. It's not a handout. It's a helping hand. Sometimes you need help, and that's okay. It's not a moral failure to not be able to provide when the board is constantly being stacked against you. It does not make you any less of a man. I'm speaking specifically to men who say they don't want to take no handouts, or even to women, or even to, whoever who say, I won't take no handouts. My children are not going to grow up on assistance. Baby, we know you're doing what you can. We know. And I want you, if somebody can help you, what's wrong with that? And so I ask y'all, especially the people who, let me get my thought together. I feel like we all know somebody who either is or has been on food assistance. And you may think, well, that'll never be me. Even in your lifetime, it's never you. Why are you okay with it being somebody else? Why are you okay? Because we're asking the wrong question here. America's good about that. Instead of asking, why are they on this, or why are they on that, or why are they getting food benefits, why are they doing it, why they just say working, you're asking the wrong questions. If you're more upset about someone having food benefits than you are about the fact that we are in the richest country in the world, allegedly, and people cannot afford to eat, why does food assistance exist in the first place? Because people can't afford to eat. You're more concerned with what people are buying. They buying soda and junk food and lobster tail and crab legs. That's what your concern is. Policing what people buy instead of the fact that why can they not afford to eat on their own in the first place? I'm going to tell you this. I don't give a flying what people buy with food benefits. I don't care what you buy with food benefits. Because you know what? What you decide to buy for your household is your business. And some of us need to learn to mind our business. We are really good at claiming to mind our business, except when it's actually time to mind our business. But when it's not time to mind our business? When our people are suffering. And they're suffering right now. So what are we going to do? I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. After this little break, we'll be right back. All right, and we're back. So, am I mad? I am. I'm not even gonna hold you. I am upset. I'm upset because I am somebody who is compassionate, who's empathetic, and I hate to see people suffer. And I also hate ignorance because we're in the age of knowledge. Baby, there are so many resources. There really is no reason for you to be so ignorant. There really is not. You just want to be. And so what we can do is, first of all, we need to really start voting better. We need to know, not only in presidential elections and all that, but we need to vote locally. because these local politicians are also not taking care of their constituents, their people. And we have the power. We put you in office and we could take you out. And if you can't clearly see what is going on here in terms of like there's trying to be a singular voice that is trying to rule everything, that's not going to work out in most of our favors. And so we better wake up and wake up quick before it's too late. And it may already be too late, but we can always try. And so I know I spent a lot of time, the kid was mad. I want to end this on a hopeful, positive note. To anyone who's out there struggling, who's having this, who's worried about where their next meal is coming from, I pray that you can, there are food banks, there are people standing up, there are people stepping up. And at this time, if you can afford to donate, do it. If you can afford to refer people to food banks, I know sometimes there can be issues with food banks and things like that. If you can refer somebody to those, please do. If you can be a neighbor and help someone who's struggling, do that. And for the people in online group chats, all that stuff, it costs you nothing to be empathetic. Empathy, grace, compassion, sympathy costs you nothing. It's literally free. You can make as much of that as you want. So why would you spend your energy, your time, hating, being vengeful towards people when you have the opportunity to offer them compassion? We're all trying to survive in this world. And just because someone's survival looks foreign to you, that doesn't make it any less valid. And so I implore all of us to dig down deep into the trenches of our souls and find more empathy, because people are really suffering, and people are not only on the brink of financial collapse, but also mental collapse. Please check on your people. So yeah, times are scary, but this is when we lean in more to community. I pray that we continue to show up for each other, not just in words, but also in action. I pray that we continue to keep our foot on the necks of our legislative bodies to make sure that they are serving us the way they are supposed to be and not falling for the okie doke that people are falling for, because a lot of it is okie doke and a joke. And, this episode, I know I'm here for a laughy kiki, but I'm not in a laughy kiki mood because this really is upsetting me and my homegirl. So yeah, let's do better. That's all I got. But I'll see y'all next time. And hopefully by the time this gets out, the government will be open back up and we can really get to a better position. But I know I'm going to try to do my part, so you do yours. If you know any resources, anything, please share. Make sure you follow us on YouTube, like and subscribe, run those numbers up. And thank you all for all the support, and I will catch y'all next time. Bye.